Do a quick fly through here. Appears that the East Chaladon team has decided to stop ring around the rosing, wait for the blue team, that is the Skyborn, to find them, and find them they have. Got shots coming out towards the blue team. So far it's a little bit of a snipe fest. We got some lumberjack shots coming out on the Flounder. It's balloon broken. Flounder is almost armor broken. Shots now starting to come out onto the Moonlight Moth. Aside from the balloon break, not a whole lot of damage being done so far. But we'll see how long it takes for that to start stacking up. It's a balloon break on Moth. He's gonna sink very slowly. He's deployed his drogue chute. Moth's gonna reposition, try to get some cover, get his altitude back, and begin shooting once again. Meanwhile, the Zordon and the Mighty Morphin Reborn have clear shots on the Flying Flounder. He's hull broken, he's balloon broken, he's lost about a third of his perma, his whole health. There we go, another break, down to 1/3. Each of those breaks is going to be pretty devastating when you got flax coming out, down to about a 1/5. See how much longer he lasts. Very low balloon. He's sitting duck now. He's got nothing to work with. This armor break could do it. I guess not. Probably the next one though. He's backing up though. Means it's a little bit harder to hit him, but here comes the Hades. Here comes the lumberjack. Most of the shots going wide. We'll see if they can pull anything out from here. Moonlight Moth kind of positioning more forward. He's got Hades coming out now, but he's way too low to get his Artemis working. But there's a massive separation between him and his teammate, the Flying Flounder. That could create an advantage though, because now the lumberjack coming off of the Zordon can't pop both of them. They're gonna have to turn for arcs in order to engage the Moonlight Moth. If they decide to do so, which they might not. They might just finish off the Flounder, and then, you know, leave a 2v1 happening. But the Moonlight Moth is actually getting work done. There's been an armor break on the Zordon. Got a few components that at least were broken, mostly engines on the. Ooh, wow! Kill on the Reborn. That pincer, kind of a pincer, doing work where nobody's really bothering to do anything about the Moonlight Moth. And so the very squishy Mobula, which, as you can see, Flying Flounder also Mobula, also very squishy, very low on health, goes down very quickly, just because nobody was going to do anything about the Moonlight Moth. So here's Zordon's moving for cover. He's getting the nasty end of the 2v1, the 2v1 that I expected to happen on the Moonlight Moth. Flounder bumps. Oof! Oh! Surprise spawn from the Mighty Morphin Reborn. Did not see that coming. Although, considering the tankiness of the Galleon, well, he should have. expected the Galleon to just take out the damage and wait for his teammate to respawn, and then instantly annihilate the Flying Flounder and instantly annihilate the Moonlight Moth. So that brings the Skyborn team up 2-1 over East Celadon Trading Company. However, I do believe that, yes, the one kill for Red was actually first kill, and that gives East Celadon the first kill advantage should the game end in a tie. We'll see if that happens, though. Very rarely do games end in a tie. Most of the time, if we actually hit the timer, teams are engaging, they want the overtime action. And if we are actually in an engagement, we'll go into overtime and just keep going until either the game ends or I think it's about 3.5 minutes expires. The red team has spawned directly in the arcs of the Skyborn team. Flying Flounder already being balloon broken and hole broken. Mostly it amounts to a scratch on the paint though, but he is not going to be able to get any kind of altitude advantage with all that balloon damage coming out. His teammate doing the best he can to get some disables, now taking a little bit of fire himself. And these two are going to have to back up for cover, try to reset the engagement, because they spawned right where the enemy is going to be able to shoot them. And whenever that happens, anytime you spawn with the enemy having already gun arcs on you, they're going to be able to open fire before you can, because it's going to take a second for your crews to get into position. A lot of times they're going to want to take a moment to chem spray the hole or the balloon, or whatever they're in charge of, and go ahead and reload. And that's gonna be precious time that your enemy has free shots on you. So that's always a sketchy move. But the red team have been able to back up for cover and try to reset the engagement. Meanwhile, Skyborn just holding on to what they know is a very strong open position. They're going to keep it as long as they can. And the red team, meanwhile, they're doing kind of a counterclockwise circle around the map. There's a nice tunnel going through the middle, but they're not going to come through that. They know if they go through the tunnel, they're going to be lower than their enemy. Their enemy's going to have an altitude advantage, and that makes a huge difference when you're taking fire from Hades and Artemis, and when you have Hades and Artemis yourself. If you have a squid, it doesn't matter so much. Blue team apparently very aware that the red team is making the counterclockwise motion around the map that they are. So they're going to set up at the ready. So that way they've got Hades, Artemis, Lumberjack all firing as soon as the red team comes out from around this corner. They've got this cloud flared up. As soon as something pokes out around the corner, they're going to know it. And here we have it, Flying Flounders approaching an edge where you can start shooting at things. But that cloud is flared up. Moonlight Moth's coming out. Everybody sees each other. Is that the Galleon's not? No, no, Galleon's not spotted. No idea why that might be. Probably somebody's yelling, "Don't bother spotting him, just shoot him! We all know where he is." It's a freaking Galleon. Moonlight Moth's got a very low position. Flying Flounder Loses its balloon. There's its armor down. Takes about 2/3 of its perma. No, down to barely anything at all. He's hanging on by pieces of gum, and down he goes, leaving his teammate in a 2v1. We'll see if he can get to cover in time. Looks like he's going to be able to do it. He's going to get behind this mountain where the enemy team's not going to be able to shoot him. Doubtful, excuse me, that they're going to be able to push the power play. So Moonlight Moth's going to chill for a second, wait for his teammate to respawn, and they're going to try to reset that engagement. But they are down now, 3-1. As the Chaladon Trading Company against the Skyborn. There we go, the Flying Flounder has spawned. Now the Reborn, excuse me, the Skyborn, seeking to reset the engagement. They're going underneath the tunnel. Bit of a ring around the rosy happening as the East Chaladon Trading Company, well, they haven't really moved yet, but they're starting to push out. They want to occupy the territory that Skyborn had previously held. That flare causing a bit of a dip in my frame rates, as they usually do. Engagement might happen soon. Keyword might. Haha, get it? Because Mighty Morphin. Haha, haha, haha. Nope. The ring around the rosy continues. Looks like East Chaladon just gonna keep circling the map looking for their foe. Well, the Skyborn, I think they've decided to cease the ring around the rosy. They're just gonna hold on and wait for their enemy to come around to them. Skyborn's known as kind of a reactive team. They like to set up the strong point and just hold on to it with, you know, enormous firepower that's usually very accurate. That's the big difference between a reactive and any other kind of team, is how accurate is your firepower, because you're gonna have a lot of long range stuff, and if it's not landing, then it's good for nothing. But Skyborn, very, very accurate gunners, very accurate shooting engineers. Meanwhile, East Chaladon still pushing around the map. They should have eyes on the blue team shortly if they can get a flare into this cloud. Or if the blue team flares this cloud, then everybody's going to have eyes on each other. Hades coming out. They've got East Chaladon has spotted the Skyborn. Shots are landing on the galleon. No guns broken just yet. And that's what we want to see. Guns have to be broken on this galleon, otherwise it's just going to keep raining lumberjack and Hades and flak until you die. And as you can see, the Moonlight Moth has dipped in altitude from having his balloon popped, and he's run for cover. He's going to leave his teammate out in the open to eat the 2v1. That's about a third of his perma down. More shots coming in. Reborn actually loses a lot of its perma Art's coming in on its downed armor for just a moment. So we've got both of the Mobulas about on equal footing. Actually, I think Flying Flounder has a little bit of an edge in remaining perma. But the Moonlight Moth and the Flying Flounder both losing altitude from the Lumberjack, so they're gonna want to reset this engagement so they can come back out at a higher altitude and have their arts actually able to, because these arts point down very well, they don't point up very well. So anytime you're in an Artemis fight, altitude is key. You have to be at least at equal footing with your teammate, and that's where the Lumberjack off of the Galleon comes into play. That and having the balloon down creates a much bigger target for your armor-piercing weapons, because this balloon becomes armor as soon as the balloon falls. And then once the armor falls, that becomes hull. So the Lumberjack is not just about breaking balloons and making your enemy dip in altitude. You're trying to make a bigger target for your Hades and your Flak and your Arts for your Artemis to kill them with. Oh, and while I'm yammering, what happened to the Zordon? It comes down to a very small chunk of health. While the East Chalodon team kind of hangs out in a cloud that makes them hard to hit. Flying Flounder loses perma though. This could be the end of the Flying Flounder. That is indeed the end of the Flying Flounder. Moonlight Moth out in the open. He's got a touch of cloud cover, but he's pushing further out into the open. Common knowledge would suggest you get your ass to cover. But he's charging in. I guess he's decided he's had enough of this match. He's just gonna say, bring it, baby. Bring it. And so the blue team brought it. Skyborn win, 5-1. It's always interesting when one team gets first kill and then nothing else. It tends to happen quite frequently with reactive teams. You'll lose your first engagement and then somehow manage to just bring it on home from there.